to today's class. Last week we concluded on the topic, the demand and supply of money. We looked at the value for money and how it is measured and calculated. We also looked at the velocity of money. So this week we are looking at a very interesting and a totally different topic, which is financial institution. When we talk about financial institution, it is simply an institution or a market where financial services are traded. Okay, it is divided into two. We have the capital market and the money market. Now we have a diagram there to further illustrate your financial market or your financial institution. You have your money market and you have your capital market. Your capital market is further divided into two. You have your primary market and the secondary market. Now, the primary market is the market where brand new securities are traded. It's like a market where brand new cars are traded, okay? It's similar to this primary market. Now, your secondary market, on the other hand, is a market where second-hand or tokumbo securities are traded. Please take note of the differences between your primary market and your secondary market. Now let's go to the explanation for capital market. When we talk about capital market is a market where long-term funds are bought and sold. That's just a simple explanation to it. It's a market where long-term funds are bought and are sold. Now the main operator within this market is known as the Nigerian Stock Exchange, and then the apex body that coordinates and regulates the activities of operators within this market is the Security and Exchange Commission. I've mentioned earlier the components of the Nigerian capital market, which is the primary market and the secondary market. Now let's look at the instruments that are traded in the capital market. Number one, we have equities instruments. So equities instruments is an instrument that confers ownership to the holders. Okay, we have your shares, you have your stock. That means the holders of these instruments automatically becomes co-owners of the company. Number two, we have debt instruments. Your debt instrument does not confer ownership to the holders. It is simply used to generate funds for long-term projects. If it is issued by the federal government, it is known as a sovereign bond. If it is issued by the state government, it is known as your state bond. If it is issued by your local government, it is known as a municipal bond. If it is issued by corporate bodies, it is known as a corporate bond or debentures. Now, this goes on to tell you that the various tiers of government also issues bonds, okay, in order to finance their projects, in order to ensure that projects within their locality are carried out. Now, what are the functions of capital markets? These functions are well explanatory. They are self-explanatory. Number one, it facilitates trading of securities. It is in the capital market that securities are bought and sold. Number two, it provides opportunities for governments to finance projects that will spur economic growth. Number three, it gives individual the opportunity to participate in the running of the government. This is made of the economy, I beg your pardon. This is made possible when individuals buy treasury bills, okay, that are issued by the government, or they buy bonds, the sovereign bonds that are issued by the government. Number four, the capital markets provide investment advice to investors. Now, if you're an investor and then you need an advice on what share to invest in, it's the stockbrokers that will give you this advice, and they are found in the capital market. Number five, it ensures efficient allocation of scarce resources. Having said that on capital markets, what then is money market? Your money market is a market that allows investors to invest in short-term securities, okay? Unlike your capital market that allows investors to invest in long-term securities, your money markets allow investors invest in short-term securities. The apex body that controls, that monitors, that regulates the activities within this market is the Central Bank of Nigeria. And then the operators within these markets are simply your commercial banks and other developmental banks. Now, what are the instruments that are traded in the money market? Number one, we have your treasury bill. The treasury bill is the bill that is issued by the Central Bank of Nigeria for the government. Okay, it is issued in order to raise funds for the government. It is usually issued at discounted rates. Let me give you an example. For example, the government may decide to issue this treasury bill. Let's assume the bill is worth 100,000, but then the government issues it for 80,000. So you are buying it for 80,000, and then after buying, the government gives you an IOU for 100,000. Now, at the end of 3 months or 90 or 91 days, the government pays you back the 100,000. That means you are making a profit of 20,000 on the treasury bill that you have bought. Please, do you understand? Number two, we have commercial bills or commercial papers. These are very similar to your treasury bill, but they are not issued by the government, but by corporate bodies. And then number three, we have your fixed deposit. Now, what are the functions of money markets? What functions do they play? Number one, they increase the supply of funds and makes funds available to borrowers. Number two, they make funds available at cheaper rates. Number three, it ensures individuals and financial institutions make profits. Like the example I gave you in treasury bills, you're buying a bill you paid for 80,000 naira. At the end of the period, which is 3 months, the government gives you 100,000. That means you have made a profit of 20,000 on that treasury bill. Number four, it helps government access short-term loan at low interest rates. Number five, it helps in implementing monetary policy. So we are going to stop here for today, class. If you have any question, you have any need for clarification, do not forget to use the Google Classroom and slide in there. Let's discuss. Also, my number is at the beginning of this slide. You can send in your class activity and your assignments there. Now, you can see you have a class activity there. Please attempt it and submit it immediately after this class. I beg your pardon. Also, you have an assignment for you. Please attempt it. That you're going to submit before the next class. So please stay safe.